Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. I'm 74 years old now, and 5 years ago, I thought my family was broken beyond repair. Today, I want to share the story of how one unexpected encounter at a hospital waiting room completely transformed our fractured relationships, and how it could heal your family too. The night everything fell apart. December 2018. Christmas Eve, to be exact. What should have been our most joyful family gathering turned into our most devastating disaster. My 3 children hadn't spoken to each other in 2 years. My eldest daughter, Sarah, refused to attend any event where my son, Michael, brought his new wife. Michael was furious that we'd chosen sides in his divorce. My youngest, Jennifer, was caught in the middle, stressed to the breaking point, trying to manage everyone's emotions. The breaking point came when Sarah walked out mid-dinner, shouting that she was done with this toxic family forever. Michael threw his napkin down and stormed out behind her. Jennifer burst into tears at the table. My husband, Richard, and I sat there in stunned silence, surrounded by untouched Christmas dinner and shattered relationships. I spent the next 3 years watching my family disintegrate from the inside. Grandchildren grew up, barely knowing their aunts and uncles. Family milestones passed in painful silence. Every holiday became a logistical nightmare of separate celebrations and careful scheduling to avoid conflicts. I felt like a complete failure as a mother. How had I raised 3 children who couldn't even be in the same room together? That's when I met Grace, and everything changed. The hospital waiting room angel. March 2022, Richard was having routine surgery, and I was sitting alone in the hospital waiting room, scrolling through old family photos on my phone. Pictures of birthdays, graduations, vacations, all from before the Great Fracture, as I'd started calling it. An elderly woman sat down beside me. She was probably in her late 70s, with kind eyes and hands that showed decades of hard work. "Family photos?" she asked gently, noticing the tears I was trying to hide. "Old ones," I said. "When we were still a family." She nodded with understanding. That only comes from experience. "How long has it been?" 3 years since they all spoke to each other. 4 since we've all been together. "Ah," she said, settling back in her chair. "I know that pain well. My name is Grace Morrison. 22 years ago, my family exploded so completely that I thought we'd never recover." I looked at her with surprise. This woman radiated peace and contentment, the last thing I'd expect from someone who'd endured decades of family division. "What happened?" I asked. Grace smiled sadly. "My middle son came out as gay. Half the family embraced him, half rejected him completely. Lines were drawn, sides were chosen, and suddenly family gatherings became battlefields. It was devastating. How did you survive it?" Her expression shifted to something I couldn't quite identify, not sadness, not joy, but something deeper. "I didn't just survive it, dear. I healed it, all of it. Today, 22 years later, my family is closer than we were before the crisis." I nearly dropped my phone. "That's impossible. How?" "Would you like me to show you?" Grace's revelation, the 7 Bridges method. 3 days later, I found myself sitting in Grace's cozy living room, surrounded by what could only be described as a shrine to family togetherness. Photos everywhere, recent ones, wedding pictures, birthday parties, holiday celebrations. 3 generations of faces, laughing together. "Margaret," Grace said, pouring tea from a service that looked like it had hosted countless family conversations. "Tell me how you've been trying to fix your family situation." "I've tried everything," I said. "Family therapy, they wouldn't go. Mediation, Michael refused. I've begged, pleaded, made ultimatums. I've tried staying neutral. I've tried taking sides. Nothing works." Grace nodded knowingly. "You've been using what I call the direct approach, trying to force healing through confrontation and negotiation. It almost never works, with deep family wounds." "Then what does work?" "Indirect healing. Instead of trying to bridge the gap between your children, you build 7 different types of bridges that gradually draw everyone back together. The beauty is, nobody feels pressured or manipulated. They choose to reconnect because the path becomes naturally inviting."
I was skeptical but desperate.
7 bridges. Let me show you the system that brought my family back from complete destruction. The 7 bridges that saved Grace's family. Grace opened a worn notebook filled with handwritten notes, photos, and what looked like strategic planning. "When my son David came out, the family split down predictable lines," she began. "My husband's conservative relatives cut off contact. My religious sister stopped speaking to me. David's brothers chose sides. Within 6 months, what had been a close, extended family of 47 people had fractured into 6 separate groups that refused to interact." She showed me a hand-drawn diagram that looked like a war map. Family members clustered in isolated camps with no connecting lines. Traditional approaches failed miserably. Family meetings became shouting matches. Holidays were disasters. Every attempt to talk it out made things worse. "So, what did you do differently?" "I stopped trying to fix the problem directly and started building bridges indirectly. 7 specific types of bridges that make reconnection feel natural and safe rather than forced and uncomfortable." Grace flipped to a new page, covered in careful notes. "Bridge 1, shared memory restoration. Instead of talking about current conflicts, I created opportunities for family members to revisit positive shared memories from before the fracture." Bridge 2, neutral territory creation. I established spaces and activities where family members could interact without the pressure of addressing their conflicts. Bridge 3, individual relationship repair, rather than group healing. I worked on one-on-one relationships with each person involved. Bridge 4, grandchildren as connectors. I used the next generation as natural bridges between conflicted adults. Bridge 5, crisis response unity. When genuine emergencies arose, I created opportunities for family members to support each other. Bridge 6, celebration engineering. I designed small, low-pressure celebrations that gradually rebuilt positive associations. Bridge 7, legacy project collaboration. I initiated projects that required family members to work together towards something meaningful for future generations. I stared at the notebook. "This is like a master plan."
Grace laughed. "It took me 4 years to develop, and another 3 to fully implement. But Margaret, it worked, not just for my immediate family, for our entire extended network. Today, David and his husband host Christmas dinner. My conservative in-laws come every year and adore David's children. The sister who stopped speaking to me is now David's strongest supporter."
How is that possible? Because we didn't try to change anyone's mind. We just created conditions where hearts could change naturally. My 18-month journey, bridge by bridge. Grace's method sounded almost too good to be true, but I was out of options. We spent the next 2 hours creating my personalized bridge-building plan. Months 1 to 3. Bridge 1, Shared Memory Restoration. My first task was to stop talking about current problems and start reconnecting my children with positive family memories. I began what I called my memory project. Instead of calling to check on everyone's latest grievances, I started sharing specific memories in text messages. Found this photo of the 3 of you building that epic sandcastle in Ocean City. Remember how proud you were when other families stopped to take pictures. Discovered your father's old video of Michael's high school graduation speech. Sarah, you were crying with pride in the audience. Jennifer, you kept whispering, "That's my brother." The response was immediate and surprising. Within days, my children were responding, not with conflict, but with their own memory additions. Sarah, I still have the seashell from that castle somewhere.
Michael, I was terrified giving that speech. Knowing you were all there made it possible.
Jennifer, I kept that program for years, for 3 months. I shared one memory every few days. No current drama, no relationship discussions, just positive reminders of when we functioned as a loving family. The shift in our phone conversations was remarkable. Instead of tiptoeing around conflicts, we were remembering why we loved each other. Months 4 to 6, Bridge 2, Neutral Territory Creation. Grace's second bridge involved creating spaces where family members could interact without the pressure of addressing their relationships. I started small. My grandson, Ethan, had a baseball tournament 2 hours away. Instead of the usual complicated logistics of separate attendance, I suggested we all drive together and make it a day trip. No family discussions, I promised, just supporting Ethan.
To my amazement, all 3 agreed.
The car ride was initially awkward, but focusing on Ethan gave us neutral conversation. By the time we reached the field, they were reminiscing about their own childhood sports experiences. During the game, something beautiful happened. When Ethan struck out, I watched all 3 of my children spontaneously move closer to encourage him. For a moment, they were just aunts and an uncle supporting their nephew, not people in conflict. I built on this success. Movie outings to see films we'd all enjoy. Museum visits focused on shared interests. Cooking classes where we learned something new together. Each neutral activity created positive shared experiences without the pressure of relationship repair. Months 7 to 9, Bridge 3, Individual Relationship Repair. Rather than trying to fix the relationships between my children, I focused on repairing my individual connection with each of them. I spent intentional one-on-one time with each child, learning how the family fracture had affected them personally, really listening, without trying to defend others or minimize their pain. Sarah revealed that she felt Michael had replaced his first family, and that we'd been too accepting of the change. She was grieving the loss of her former sister-in-law and the family structure she'd loved. Michael shared that he felt constantly judged and that his happiness was treated as a betrayal of his previous marriage. He was exhausted by the constant tension and emotional management. Jennifer admitted she'd been carrying enormous stress, trying to maintain relationships with everyone while feeling responsible for family peace. Instead of defending or explaining, I simply acknowledged their pain and asked how I could better support them individually. These conversations were transformative. As my relationship with each child strengthened, they became more open to family interaction. Months 10 to 12. Bridge 4, grandchildren as connectors. Grace's fourth bridge leveraged the natural healing power of the next generation. I organized activities specifically designed to connect my children through their children's needs and joy. Joint birthday parties, where the kids planned activities for their cousins. Family game nights, where adults participated in their children's favorite activities. Collaborative projects, like creating a family cookbook, where each household contributed recipes and stories. The grandchildren became natural ambassadors. They didn't understand adult conflicts and simply wanted their aunts and uncles to be present and engaged. Watching their children play together reminded my own children of the family bonds that transcended current conflicts. Months 13 to 15. Bridge 5, Crisis Response Unity. Grace warned me that this bridge couldn't be manufactured. It required waiting for genuine opportunities when family support was needed. My chance came. When Jennifer's husband was hospitalized with appendicitis complications, she was overwhelmed, managing the medical situation while caring for 2 young children. Instead of organizing help myself, I simply shared the situation with Sarah and Michael without asking for anything. Their response was immediate and beautiful. Sarah showed up at the hospital with dinner for Jennifer. Michael took Jennifer's kids for the weekend without being asked. For 3 days, they functioned as a support team focused entirely on helping their sister. The crisis naturally created cooperation and reminded them they were family first. Months 16 to 18. Bridges 6 and 7, celebrations and legacy projects. The final 2 bridges focused on creating new positive associations and working toward shared meaningful goals for celebrations. I started small and built gradually. A family picnic to celebrate Richard's retirement, a surprise party for Jennifer's promotion. Each celebration was carefully designed to be joyful and pressure-free. The legacy project was my masterstroke, inspired by Grace's success. I announced I wanted to create a family history book for the grandchildren, not just facts and dates, but stories, photos, and memories from multiple generations. Each of my children had unique pieces of our family story. Sarah had preserved letters from her grandmother. Michael had digital copies of old family films. Jennifer had been collecting stories from Richard's side of the family. The project required collaboration, but felt meaningful rather than forced. Working together towards something bigger than their conflicts gave them a shared purpose. The Miracle of Christmas 2023. 18 months after starting Grace's method, I faced the true test. Christmas dinner 2023. I didn't announce a family reunion or make speeches about forgiveness. I simply invited everyone for Christmas dinner and let them decide their level of participation. All 3 children came. All the grandchildren were there. For the first time in 5 years, we had everyone at one table. There was no dramatic moment of reconciliation, no tearful apologies or family meeting. Instead, there was something better: normalcy. Laughter during gift opening, collaboration in the kitchen, children playing while adults told stories. Sarah helped Michael's wife with the dessert preparation. Michael asked about Sarah's new job promotion. Jennifer orchestrated a family game of charades that had everyone laughing until they cried. At one point, I found myself in the kitchen watching all 3 of my children cleaning dishes together, teasing each other about their techniques. And I realized we weren't healed despite our conflicts. We were healed because we'd remembered what was bigger than our conflicts: The psychology that changes everything. Grace's method works because it addresses the real barriers to family healing. Traditional approach problems forces people to address conflicts before they're ready, creates pressure and defensiveness, requires admitting fault or changing fundamental beliefs, makes healing conditional on specific conversations or behaviors. Bridge method advantages. Allows natural emotional healing without forced confrontation, creates positive experiences that gradually outweigh negative ones, focuses on shared values and connections rather than differences, makes healing feel like a choice rather than an obligation. The most profound change wasn't that my children started getting along. It's that they remembered they loved each other and that love was stronger than their disagreements. Why family rifts happen and why they persist. Through conversations with Grace and my own research, I learned that most family conflicts follow predictable patterns. Initial trigger event, a divorce, coming out, marriage choice, career decision, or other major life change that challenges family expectations. Sides formation. Family members feel pressured to choose positions, often based on their own fears, values, or loyalties, rather than the actual issue. Communication. Breakdown. Direct conversation becomes impossible because every interaction feels loaded with conflict potential. Hardening positions. Time and pride make it increasingly difficult to back down or admit fault. Escalation cycle. Each failed attempt at resolution makes future attempts feel more hopeless and risky. Grace's bridge method works because it interrupts this cycle at multiple points without requiring anyone to admit fault or change their fundamental positions. The 7 Bridges. Detailed Implementation Guide. Let me break down exactly how to implement each bridge based on my experience and Grace's guidance. Bridge 1, Shared Memory Restoration, months 1 to 3. What it is, reconnecting family members with positive shared experiences from before the conflict. How to implement. Gather photos, videos, letters, or mementos from happier family times. Share 1 memory per week through text, email, or social media. Focus on specific, emotionally positive moments rather than general statements. Include details that help people relive the experience. Don't reference current conflicts or use memories to make points about how things should be. Examples that worked for me. Found Dad's video of you 3 building the treehouse. Michael, you were so patient, teaching Jennifer to use the hammer. Sarah, you kept bringing everyone lemonade and snacks. Remember the camping trip when it rained for 3 days? Instead of being miserable, you turned the tent into a storytelling theater. I still remember Jennifer's ghost story. That kept us all awake. Why it works. Positive memories activate the same brain regions as current positive experiences. By regularly triggering happy memories, you're literally rewiring family members' emotional associations with each other. Bridge 2. Neutral territory creation, months 4 to 6. What it is, creating opportunities for family interaction that don't require addressing relationship issues. How to implement. Choose activities that naturally focus attention outward. Sports events, concerts, classes. Start with short, low-commitment interactions. Have clear boundaries. We're just here to support grandchild or enjoy activity. Avoid family-focused activities initially. Family game night comes later.
Let people participate at their comfort level.
Activities that worked: grandson's baseball games, external focus, natural conversations, cooking classes, learning something new together, museum visits, educational focus, shared discovery, charity volunteering, purpose beyond family dynamics. Why it works: when people interact in neutral context, they remember how to enjoy each other's company without the pressure of addressing their conflicts. Bridge 3, Individual Relationship Repair, months 7 to 9.
What it is: strengthening your personal relationship with each family member separately before expecting them to rebuild with each other.
How to implement: schedule regular one-on-one time with each person involved in the conflict. Focus on understanding their specific pain points and needs. Listen without defending other family members. Acknowledge their feelings without requiring them to change. Work on your relationship with them, independent of other family dynamics. Conversation framework. Help me understand how this situation has affected you. What would make you feel more supported by me? What do you need from me right now, regardless of what happens with other family member? How can I be a better mom, dad, sibling to you during this difficult time? Why it works. People are more willing to take risks in other relationships when they feel secure in their relationship with you. Strong individual connections create a foundation for family healing. Bridge 4, Grandchildren as Connectors, months 10 to 12. What it is: using the next generation as natural bridges between conflicted adults. How to implement: organize activities focused on children's needs and interests. Create opportunities for adults to collaborate in supporting children. Let children's natural relationships drive adult interaction. Avoid putting children in the middle or using them as messengers. Focus on shared love for the children rather than adult relationships. Effective approaches: joint children's birthday parties, collaborative school projects, requiring extended family input, family talent shows, where kids perform for all the adults, creating family trees, or history projects with children. Why it works: love for children often transcends adult conflicts. Adults will set aside personal issues to support children's well-being and happiness. Bridge 5, Crisis Response Unity, months 13 to 15. What it is: creating opportunities for family members to support each other during genuine difficulties. How to implement: you cannot manufacture crises, but you can facilitate family response when they occur. Share information about family members' difficulties without asking for specific responses. Coordinate help if people offer, but let support emerge naturally. Focus on practical assistance rather than emotional reconciliation. Don't use crises to force relationship conversations. Natural opportunities, health emergencies, job loss, or financial difficulties, relationship problems, divorce, breakups, housing issues, children's serious problems. Why it works: crisis response bypasses normal relationship barriers because the focus shifts to immediate practical needs rather than relationship dynamics. Bridge 6, Celebration Engineering, months 16 to 18. What it is: designing positive family celebrations that rebuild happy associations. How to implement: start with small, low-pressure celebrations. Focus on achievements, milestones, or holidays that feel naturally positive. Create new traditions. rather than trying to recreate old ones that might trigger conflict memories. Let participation be voluntary and at people's comfort level. Keep celebrations focused on joy rather than family healing. Celebration ideas that worked. Surprise parties for promotions or achievements. New tradition picnics in different locations. Game nights with extended family friends. Holiday celebrations with new formats. Christmas breakfast instead of dinner. Why it works. Positive shared experiences create new neural pathways and associations, gradually replacing negative emotional patterns with positive ones. Bridge 7. Legacy Project Collaboration. Months 18 plus. What it is working together on meaningful projects that benefit future generations. How to implement. Choose projects that require everyone's unique contributions. Focus on family history, traditions, or gifts for future generations. Make the project meaningful enough to motivate collaboration.
Structure the project so people can contribute without forced interaction.
Celebrate the completed project as a family achievement. Project ideas, family history books or videos, recipe collections with family stories, photo digitization, and organization projects, family property improvements that benefit everyone, scholarship funds, or charitable giving programs. Why it works. Working toward shared meaningful goals creates natural collaboration opportunities and reminds family members of their shared values and connections. Common mistakes that sabotage healing. After witnessing Grace's success and implementing the method myself, I've identified the most common mistakes people make when trying to heal family rifts. Mistake 1, rushing the timeline, trying to compress the 18-month process into a few weeks or months. Deep family wounds require time to heal properly. Mistake 2, making healing conditional. I'll start being nice when they apologize first. This approach guarantees continued conflict. Mistake 3, trying to control outcomes, expecting specific responses or relationship changes rather than focusing on your own actions. Mistake 4, forcing conversations. We need to talk about this. Almost always makes family conflicts worse, especially early in the process. Mistake 5, taking sides. Believing you can stay neutral by agreeing with different people privately. This actually perpetuates division. Mistake 6, using children as messengers. Involving grandchildren in adult conflicts damages them and undermines healing.
Mistake 7. Public pressure.
Using social media, extended family, or community pressure to force reconciliation. The transformation continues. 2 years after that Christmas dinner reunion, my family has not only healed, we've become closer than we were before the crisis. Sarah and Michael's wife have developed their own friendship, bonding over their shared love of hiking and photography. Michael has become Jennifer's go-to advisor for work challenges. Jennifer organizes regular cousins' sleepovers that all the adults support. More importantly, we've developed new communication skill and conflict resolution tools. When disagreements arise, and they do, we address them quickly rather than letting them fester. Last month, Sarah and Michael had a significant disagreement about their father's care as his health declines. Instead of choosing sides or avoiding the conflict, they asked Jennifer to help them find a solution that worked for everyone. They resolved it, In 2 conversations, the family that nearly destroyed itself over conflicts now handles new challenges with grace and collaboration. Grace's legacy lesson. Grace passed away last fall at age 81. At her memorial service, I met family members I'd heard about throughout our friendship, but never met in person. Her son David gave a eulogy that brought tears to everyone's eyes. Mom taught us that family isn't about agreeing with each other. It's about choosing to love each other, even when we don't agree. She showed us that healing doesn't require anyone to change who they are. It just requires everyone to remember who we are to each other. Grace's memorial service was attended by over 200 people, family members, friends, neighbors, and people whose families she'd helped heal using her bridge method. During the reception, I heard story after story of families she'd guided from brokenness to wholeness. Her greatest legacy isn't just her healed family. It's the ripple effect of healing she created in dozens of other families. Your Family Healing Action Plan. If your family is struggling with rifts, divisions, or long-standing conflicts, here's your starting point. Week 1, assessment and commitment. Map out the conflicts, who's involved, what triggered the divisions, how long they've persisted. Identify which family relationships you want to prioritize first.
Commit to following the bridge method for at least 12 months.
Set realistic expectations. Healing takes time and patience. Week 2, memory collection. Gather photos, videos, letters, or mementos from positive family times. Create a system for sharing 1 memory per week with family members. Focus on specific, emotionally positive moments. Prepare 12 to 16 memories to share over the next 3 to 4 months. Week 3, individual outreach. Schedule one-on-one time with each family member involved in conflicts. Focus on rebuilding your individual relationships first. Listen to understand their specific pain points. Avoid discussing the other family members' perspectives. Week 4, neutral activity planning. Identify 4 to 5 neutral activities where family members could interact without pressure. Start with short, low-commitment options. Focus on external activities rather than family-focused gatherings. Begin with activities that have worked previously. Remember, the goal isn't to fix everything immediately. The goal is to start building the first bridge. Frequently asked questions. What if some family members refuse to participate? Focus on the people who are willing to engage. Often, holdouts join the process naturally as they see positive changes in family dynamics. How do you handle family members who actively sabotage healing efforts? Set boundaries around your own participation without trying to control their behavior. Focus on building bridges with people who are open to connection. What if the conflicts involve serious issues like abuse or addiction?
The bridge method works for relationship conflicts and differences of opinion. Serious.